Thank you. My name is Dr. Godfrey Asea, a maize breeder, but also director in the National Crops Resources Research Institute, one of the NaCRRI institutes based out here in Uganda. And the issue at hand is aflatoxin, which is one of the most important constraint related to maize standards in Uganda. As you know, the amount of maize in terms of production and also tonnage has been increasing over a period in the last decade. However, the standards of maize have not improved dramatically. And one of the factors affecting maize standards is the levels of aflatoxin. As we know, aflatoxin levels or content in maize is highly regulated. For example, the standards according to FDA, which is the Food and Drug Administration of the US, but also the World Health Organization, the level which is acceptable is 20 parts per billion. According to East African standards, it is 10 parts per billion, a little more stringent. And according to, for example, EU, it is even more stringent to the level of only 4 parts per billion accepted. So on the research front, we have put a lot of focus now to address the issue of aflatoxin to improve maize quality. And we're using a number of approaches to address that issue, because we notice and we know this is one of the most important problems, not only affecting maize trade or grain trade, but also it affects health, because aflatoxin is potentially carcinogenic. It causes liver cancer, but also causes stunting in children. So consumption over time, especially people who eat levels of food with levels of aflatoxin, get exposed to the problem. So at the research level, we're using what is called host resistance, that is developing varieties that are resistant to the fungus that is causing aflatoxin, the problem. And the fungus is in the genus of Aspergillus. So there are 2 species in Uganda. So we have a number of varieties now that are in the pipeline and that have been released that are resistant to the fungus causing accumulation of aflatoxin. But also importantly, we have embarked on understanding the strains of aflatoxin we have in the country in all the agroecological zones that are growing maize. And by the way, in addition to maize, the same problem also affects groundnuts. It also affects other food crops, including cassava. So in addition to host resistance, after understanding the types of the fungus, we are also embarking on a strategy to use biological control, using a competition method to control the fungus with the technology that may be available to farmers in the near future. And I think also importantly, we notice farmer awareness and education is very important to understand the problem, the potential danger of this fungus and the toxin, which is a metabolite called aflatoxin, and also the handling procedures to reduce aflatoxin. So that's the kind of work we're doing in the research. We're using a multitude of approaches to try to address this issue. And all of it is targeted to really improve or increase better maize standards in the country that will be able to conform with the requirements for maize trade in the region and possibly for exports outside Africa. You know, we have never tried to reach that market because of the poor maize standards.